Well, while we were out chasing the big boy, we came across some fun stuff, starting here in Soda Springs.
I've always loved coming up to Idaho and visiting. It's just a fun place, especially Lava Hot Springs.
Well, even this time of year, it tends to be green.
Yes.
And a little tiny bit cooler.
A little bit, yes.
So it's just a fun place to come and get away from the heat. And here in the park in Soda Springs is this nifty little porter.
Oh, that is really cute.
Stinking cute.
Oh, absolutely. That's in order.
I've always been a fan of these little porters. I guess that's why I have, I don't know, something like 5 of them.
Oh my goodness.
I just love them. So they've dubbed this little porter the Dinky engine. And it was used in the construction of the Alexander Dam, or the dam anyway that holds back the Alexander Reservoir in 1924. It makes for the most beautiful, beautiful lake here, just barely outside of town, Alexander Reservoir. At any rate, as the waters were rising, they just left this little engine sitting there on the tracks and allowed the water to completely cover it up. So it became something of local lore that there was this little locomotive at the bottom of the reservoir. At any rate, in 1976, they drained the reservoir to do some repairs to the dam, and sure enough, there was this little engine. So they plucked it out of there, and some of the locals thought, hey, let's rebuild that guy and get it running again. Well, they had no idea what they were biting off there, and later on decided, well, let's just cosmetically restore it. And then Union Pacific came forward and said, tell you what, we'll go ahead and restore it for you. So they spent over $70,000 and fixed this little guy up and then just gave it to the city. Now, at that time, our good friend Steve Stribble with the O-Scale Railroad was living here in Soda Springs, and he picked up this button at the annual Old West Days there in 1977, and they had adopted the little Dinky engine as the logo for the event. Anyway, this is the commemorative button that he picked up that year.
Boy, check that out. Not much in the way of controls here, like on and off and the whistle.
Yeah, not like the big boy.
No.
But I just, that's part of, to me, the charm, is that there's just not much to them. They're sort of like a little teapot on wheels.
There you go.
As is typical of a lot of these little construction engines, they're of a narrower gauge. In this case, 3-foot gauge, most common of the narrow gauges. Look how light that rail is, how small it is. I just love the look of that really, really light rail in a narrow gauge like that. That just looks so cool. Part of me says it's sort of a shame when a locomotive doesn't have a tender behind.
There you go. To me, it's just wrong.
But, you know, it's also neat that they store the water in this saddle tank on top of the boiler that keeps the weight up there so it can press down on the wheels for traction.
So what is the little depository there on the side?
Well, that's where you dump the coal.
Oh.
Since there's no tender, it's just got a little bunker, and you have a little teeny shovel to shovel coal from the bunker into the boiler, and that's all there is to that.
Oh, I see, like a coal chute. And you run out of coal, you say shoot.
And not far from the locomotive is this fun little rail bus.
Oh, a galloping goose.
Yeah, somebody goosed a bus.
Ah.
Like so many of these rail buses, it's just homemade.
It looks like something my dad would have constructed years ago.
I don't even know if there were any commercial available, you know, these rail buses. There probably was, but I don't know of any.
Yeah, you just build it out of scrap.
So the little rail bus was constructed to take people between the Conda mine and the little village of Conda, which was only about 8 miles from Soda Springs, At any rate, the little rail bus ran on the Union Pacific tracks between the two towns. The mine and the town were called Conda because the mine was owned by the Anaconda Copper Mining Company.
Well, with the brutal winters, I imagine you need a rail bus.
Well, yeah, and I don't know if too many people even had a car.
Well, and then did they have snow tires in those days? I mean, chains?
Yeah.
One horse open sleigh.
And that'd probably be the only way you get there without the rail bus, it'd be in a sleigh. So
no kidding.
So in the 1960s, the owners of the mine gave the little bus to the Paulson family who had lived there in Conda, and they painted it red and put it on the golf course. And then in 1983, the Paulson family gifted it to the city. And in 1998, Jerry Shurtleff restored the little bus to its original condition and repainted it to its original color, and it was put on display here in the park.
I'm always happy to see something like this, you know, restored or rescued or whatever you want to say, so that we can look at it and future generations can too.
And it's fun that these are just people.
Yeah.
You know, a family and then this guy, they just decided to fix this thing up.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Anaconda built the little guy on a white truck chassis and then just kind of cobbled the whole thing together to function as a rail bus. It was a free service. They didn't charge. They just took people back and forth between the mine and Soda Springs.
It looks a little bit different than the ones we've seen in Colorado, but still pretty neat, you know?
It's, I don't know, it's more basic or something.
Boxy, it doesn't have a cab.
Same idea, though.
Yeah.
They needed a bus, so they just grabbed a truck frame and built one.
Right.
Check this out, worm gear.
Isn't that something?
So you don't have to worry about this thing accidentally rolling away from you.
Well, thank goodness. I thought there was a drive line that somebody had stole it.
Yeah, on close inspection, I was looking at this, and it's a worm gear.
Right.
So it can't freewheel. If the engine's not turning, it's not going anywhere.
Well, that's a good thing.
Well, on to Lava Hot Springs, just down the road. And we love coming up to Lava.
Oh, I love it up here. It's very touristy, but it's neat.
It's an old hot springs resort dating back, I don't know, 150 years or something.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, that's one of the funnest things about it. I mean, a lot of people like to come up here and take the waters.
Oh, I do.
Say.
It makes you feel so good. I mean, just, I don't know what's with it, but boy, you feel better when you come out.
But we love to stay here.
Yes.
At the Riverside Inn. It's one of the old original hotels. Mm-hmm. And it has old soaking tubs down in the basement.
Right, but a word of warning, it's adults only, so it's not a kid-friendly place.
We've stayed in several of these old 19th century hotels. We just get a kick out of these old hotels. And they have such rich history. And a lot of them have played host to presidents and celebrities, as is this one. Mm-hmm. But it's just fun to come into this old environment. And they've got fun things on display, history from the place, and artifacts that they've collected over the years.
Yes.
A lot of times they were hunting parties. People would come here and go hunting.
Yes.
And quite often it was Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, yeah, somebody like that.
Teddy Roosevelt loved to come to these old hotels. Of course, they weren't old hotels
no,
when he was around.
They were just nice.
And then he'd say, "Here, I'll give you a moose head or something." It is on the Register of Historic Places, and quite rightfully so.
Right.
And it's right on the Port Neuf River.
Yes.
Which is the river that flows down through here. And part of the recreation that goes on around here, people love to ride inner tubes down the Port Neuf River.
Yes.
That looks like a tremendous amount of fun.
It does. I wish I were a lot younger, though.
Yeah, I'm afraid if I got into one of these inner tubes, I'd get lodged in place.
Yeah, I'd just pop it.
Well, I think my fanny would go down through the opening and I'd just be there for the rest of eternity, and that would be that.
Yes.
Well, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. It's very simple to do. All you have to do is click on the upcoming blue button. Zoink! Right there, the blue button. Well, we're not sure how you found this video on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring, and we will see you here on Sunday.
Right.
See ya.
We'll see ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.